it's Jo here from Jo's Country Junction, and I am here today to do another episode of Sew with Jo. One of the first things I want to tell you about is if you see this on my face, it's not necessarily, I went and had a mole shaved off, and so there's a scab there and it looks kind of ewy. And so it's not that I didn't wash my face. I did wash my face. I just have that scar there that it's trying to heal, and hopefully, in a few weeks, a few months, a few years, maybe we won't even notice it anymore. So all of that takes time. The doctor said to expect even a year before you know exactly how it's going to heal. So in the meantime, I have a mole gone, and I'm just happy to have it gone. I have several things I'm working on today. Some of the things, I have spiderweb string blocks that I've been sewing together. I was planning on, I have a few more of them to sew together. They're all pinned and ready to go here. I have my daughter's pair of zebra stripe pajama bottom pants that she wants the elastic tighter on. People always laugh and say that they like reading my blog because I keep it real. Well, there's not much more real than dealing with your grown daughter's clothing repairs. So I'm sure all of you can relate to that too. I've been also working on this UFO. It is Quilted Twins Mystery Quilt from last year. It was a good pattern. I really like it. It's really pretty, but I've really lost my steam on doing it. I think last year, at the time that it came out, Bonnie Hunter also came out with her Unity Quilt Along, and I was trying to do both at once, and yeah, I was making masks at the same time too, and so I got behind on this when it was when the reveal came, and I don't know, I kind of lost it, and it got put on the side burner, and it's kind of been there ever since. Well, in the last couple weeks or so, I decided that I wanted to just make some kind of progress on it. Whatever progress was fine, just some, because it has never been put away ever since the reveal when I started it last year. And it's just been sitting over in my sewing room over here on a stool, and I just want it gone. Because part of me said, well, you could, get a tote. You have some empty totes here because you finished up some other UFOs, and you could just all put it in a tote and you could put it in the cabinet. Well, you know as well as I do, once your UFOs get put in the cabinet, they're twice as hard to take back out. And it's twice as hard to reorientate yourself with where you were at and what you need to do to finish the quilt. So I decided I'm just going to plug along on it until it's finished. And I don't have to do it all. I don't have to do it all in one sitting. I don't have to do it over a 2-week period. I don't even have to do it over a month period. I just have to make a little bit of progress every week. So that's where I'm at. I'm needing to make a little bit of progress. So when I did the mystery, and when I was sewing along with the mystery, I misread the directions, and we were supposed to make more of this sashing section, just this top piece right here, this sashing section. And so I need to make more of those so that I can put on another row, because my goal has been that I want to put on another row every single week until it's done. And I think I can do it. Like I said, it might take me a couple months, but all I have to do is one more row. That's not too stressful. The blocks are already sewn. I just don't have the sashing strips that I need to keep going. And so I have met my goal the last 2 weeks and put on one new strip every single time. So now this week I need to keep working on those sashing strips. And let me think, did I already tell you I have my spiderweb string blocks that need to be sewn, and her pants, and I do have a quilt finish. It's in the back here. You can't see the whole thing, sorry, but I think by the time you see this video, you will already have seen it on the blog. So that is my Holy Toledo quilt, and that was a UFO, and I am so very excited to have that one finished. I'm just very happy. I've been concentrating on UFOs this year. I couldn't be happier with how the progress on those is coming, and I have a blog post coming up that is an update on where I'm at with all of that. Let me think what else. I've had a request to show people how I do the pieced letters for the crumb quilts that I make, and that video will be coming up probably in February, because I need to start working on baby quilts for Kelly's babies. Our oldest daughter Kelly is expecting twins, and I need to make 2 baby quilts, and she requested the crumb quilts that I make with the alphabet letters. And I think I'm going to try to come up with some other design than the ones I've already done, but either way, I need the alphabet letters. So I'll be working on those. The only problem is she's not finding out if she's having boys or girls or one of each, because they're not identical. So she could have 2 girls, 2 boys, or a girl and a boy. So the name picking has started to happen, or the discussion about it anyway. We haven't gotten right down to picking actual names, but we're getting closer. So, and I say we kind of very, very loosely, because Kelly will run stuff by me and say, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or she'll say, what was your grandma's middle name? And it's like, okay, let me think for a second. Yep, that was her middle name. She's just running around a whole bunch of names. I think it's hard when you have twins to know how you should name them. When I was in school, there was a set of twin girls, and their names were Becky and Brenda. You know, they're kind of matching names. I know when Kelly was in school, there was a set of boys that were Shane and Sean. And so I think it's just hard to know how you should name them, because I have a niece and she had triplets, and she had a boy and 2 girls, and she named them Ryan, Stacy, and Dawn. And the names have nothing to do with each other. So I don't know. I don't know what's the best way. I don't know what is good. So Kelly's been playing around with a lot of that during her pregnancy, and she's finally starting to feel a little better, which is really good, because she hadn't been feeling well at all previous to that. But I think I better start sewing. Now the question is, what do I want to do? I think being the thing that is that I least want to do is to do these sashing strips. I think that's the first thing I'm going to do, just in case I run out of time, because I just never know how long this is all going to go. So I pulled some 1.5" strips, and so I have a pile of 1.5" strips here, and they are going to be my base for what I am using. A blog reader was so kind and sent me a pack of 1.5" strips, and there just happened to be a bunch of the strips that are neutral colored, and so I am going to be using those strips along with some other strips that I pulled from my scrap bin. I use Bonnie Hunter's scrap user system, so I already have strips that are 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2.5 and 3.5 inches wide. So I can just go into that strip bucket and grab whatever I need whenever I get to a point like this where I need some pieces to string piece together or strip piece together, like I need for these. Because if you look close, you can see these are all individual 1.5 inch squares that are sewn together to make that sashing strip. The original directions suggested that you sew 6 of the 1.5 inch strip pieces together, so that's what I'm going to do. I don't like to use a full width of the fabric piece, because then I think you can notice if I sew these 3 together and they're all together all of the time, every time you see them in the quilt, then I think that you notice that. But if you kind of mix it up and you only use like 1/2 to 1/4 inch wide of the strips, that works a little bit better. So for now, I'm just going to cut these in half. I'm just going to go around the half line and cut those in half and put those there. A lot of times when I'm doing something like this, oh, here's a piece from my scrap bin that was really long. I'm going to just take one of these and start sewing them together. We had, for those of you that don't know, or are you new to Joe's Country Junction, I live in Iowa, and we had snow last night. Oh, we had about 2 inches of snow, just enough to go out and have to shovel. But my shoveling, I didn't have to do a lot of shoveling because the guy who comes and cleans up my driveway, he came first. And my sidewalk that is adjacent to my driveway, if I wait, then he cleans that off or does the first big rough clean off. The snow was really light and fluffy, so it was really easy to shovel. I'm starting to wonder. I'm starting to think maybe this wasn't the best project to do because there's long strips and then the sewing machine runs for a long time while I'm doing it. So, okay, being I already used this strip, I always like to take and I like to put that like in a separate pile of already used strips so I can keep variety because I don't want to use that strip again right away. And I'm going to dig here and find the other half of this strip, which I believe is this one, and I'm going to put this over here too. So when I'm doing a job like this, I chain piece, and so there's no lifting up the presser foot, there's no putting the presser foot down. I just keep working on it, like keep running the pieces through so I don't have to trim threads and cut threads, and I don't waste thread that way too. So I have a little piece here. I can tell by the bottom down here that this is a, what do I want to say? A French General fabric. So that's kind of fun. And I'm going to take this one and pair it with one of these. Okay, and I'm going to take the matching one and put that over there. I'll probably end up needing to use those later, but for now I won't. Okay, I just trimmed off what was left here because it was too long. Today's Sunday while I'm filming, and I like to do a lot of sewing on Sundays. It's my day when I'm not working. It's my day when I have more free time. And then a lot of times I try to focus and do things that will help me get projects further along because I work during the week. For those of you who don't follow my blog or know, I'm an in-home child care provider. And I have nap times with the kids. And during nap time, I can kind of do whatever I want as long as I stay on the main floor and as long as it's quiet. So a lot of times I'll do my sewing on a day like today, like Sunday, or in the evenings or in the mornings. And then I'll try to get things far enough along so I can take them downstairs and I can work on them during nap time. For example, these, well, maybe I'll just stop and do that right now. These are my spiderweb string blocks. And these, I won't take the time and iron them now because that's something I can quietly do during nap time during the week. So I have quite a few blocks here done already. I'm going to just stop and take and trim these apart while we're here and talking. These are the dog ears of this, and I'm just going to pop them off. Yep, and see, this is what happens to me. Little squirrels come along my way all the time. And so I'll just stack those up. This quilt is coming along pretty well, and I'm really happy with the progress that I've been able to make on my spiderweb string quilt because I haven't felt like I've just sat down and tackled it. I've kind of feel like more I've been sewing on it, you know, a little bit here and there. If you've watched some of my other Sew with Jo's, 2 other segments or features of Sew with Jo featured me working on the spiderweb string quilt. And to be honest, besides what I worked on during the videos, I haven't really worked on it a lot besides that. I don't feel like I have. And maybe that's because I've just been doing those like 15-minute increments or half-an-hour increments in the morning when I wake up before childcare. I like to get up probably, at least an hour before childcare, and it usually takes me about 15 minutes to get ready because I'm a low maintenance girl. As you can see, my hair is just in a little bun today. Part of that is because this has to be, the mole on my face has to be covered with Vaseline. And so when my hair flings around, then I end up with Vaseline in my hair. And so I've got this little bun thing going on. But I'm a quick getter. I don't take much time to get ready at all. So maybe about 15 minutes or so. And then I sew for like a half an hour to 40 minutes. Maybe sometimes 15 minutes if I hit snooze, but I always still sew for a little bit on weekday mornings. And then I go downstairs and start prepping my day and getting ready for the kids to come. And that usually takes at least 15 minutes to, do some things like unload the dishwasher. And I usually eat breakfast with the kids, so that's helpful. That I don't take up all of my time to eat breakfast. I learned long ago that kids eat better if you eat with them. So I always try to eat with them if I can. If there's not a baby fussing that needs attention. Right now I have one little baby in childcare, and he is just a sweetie. He's born in early September, and he's just a really good baby, and I've been so pleased to have him in care because so easy to take care of, very predictable, which is awesome, and very sweet, and I like having him. Right now I don't have any babies for grandkids, so I've just kind of adopted him, and he's great. I'm going to have these done in no time too. Good. I know a lot of people don't like to have lots of projects going on at once. For me, it's really good because, as I was saying, I kind of work in small increments in time. And so being I do that, I have, whoops, we're all getting tangled up here. Being I do that, having these lots of projects going at once allows me to pick a project that matches the amount of time I have. So today I have, an extra amount of time, so I can do something that might be more involved, which after I'm done with this video, I am going to be making a back for my Halloween quilt that will be published in American Patchwork and Quilting this fall. The due date for that is, she said mid-February, so I'm taking that as February 15th because, well, I guess February only has 28 days, so that's probably February 14th. So I need to get that onto the quilting frame, and I need to get that machine quilted. But the top's done, so that's doable. If I really had to and set my mind to it, I could have it through the long arm and bound in a day. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. I'll get working on it here after I'm done with today's video. I'm kind of excited about that. And then following that quilt, I have a Christmas quilt that is also going to be in American Patchwork and Quilting. So I have to start working on that as soon as I'm done with the Halloween quilt. But I try to do some of my own stuff that's not for publication in between projects because I don't want to be just so bogged down with only things that have deadlines. That kind of pressure is just no fun. Okay, I think I got through that stack, and it's not working, I don't think, the best for me to, okay, I'm going to set these up here. They'll be out of the way. I love my new sewing room with the big island in the center. It's not a new sewing room. It's my old sewing room, but the new layout of it, kind of. And so I think I'm going to sew these instead while I'm here and just work on those, because when I sew those long strips in the machine, I'm just afraid you hear too much machine and you don't hear the chit chat I'm doing instead. I keep a garbage right close by. All the dog ears went in the garbage, and yeah. So I'm going to sew those first. I'm going to sew these up before I sew the others. I never really thought about it that might be kind of a loud thing to do, to sew the long strips together. So far in Iowa, we've had just really mild, well, where I'm at anyway, we've had a really mild winter. Which makes me very happy. And I hate saying it because I have lived in Minnesota or Iowa my entire life, and I know that it can start out and seem like it's going to be a mild winter, and things can change quickly in March and April, and what you thought was going to be a mild winter turns into not being a mild winter at all, because we can get snow. We've had snow up to the first week in May. That's very unusual, but it's very typical. We get a couple big snows in April, but by then it melts really quickly. Today the sun is out and it's a melting day, and I'm all about that. As I'm filming this, it's actually January 24th, and tomorrow is Kelly's birthday. So Kelly she's our oldest. She is going to be 34. And our daughter Kayla, who's the second oldest, her birthday is on the 31st. So the girls are a year and 6 days apart. And the other day, Kayla messaged me because her little boy, Jasper, turned 1. And she said, I cannot imagine being ready to deliver another baby as he's turning 1, because that's how it was for me. When Kelly turned 1, my belly was huge, and I was 6 days away from being in the hospital and having Kayla be born. I don't regret having the kids that close together. When I look back at it now, I kind of wonder how I did it, because 2 years later we had Buck, and so we had 3 kids that were 3 and under. But I look now, and with Kelly being pregnant herself, she is going to have 3 kids that are 2 and under. So I guess I'm going to get another view of what it's like to have lots of little kids at once. So that's kind of fun. But Kelly will be home tomorrow for, we're just going to have we call it big family supper. That usually means whoever in the family is close around here, they're invited to come and have supper. And growing up, being Kelly's birthday, well, being my kids were the age that they were and how their birthdays landed, because Kelly's is the 25th, Kayla's is the 31st, and then Buck's is like a week later on February 8th. So when the kids were all in elementary at the same time, they all wanted to have a birthday party. So one weekend was Kelly's birthday party, the next weekend was Kayla's birthday party, and the next weekend was Buck's birthday party. It was just, as far as parenting goes, oh my gosh, parent overload, because you know how hard birthday parties are to start with, let alone having 3 of them 3 weeks in a row. Yeah, that wasn't very fun. So we soon came to not have big birthday parties. And we just started having that you could have like 2 friends over and stay overnight, because that was a lot easier than having a full birthday party 3 weekends in a row. That was just crazy. Well, and to add to that, it's all at the end of January and the beginning of February. And around here, those are probably the worst probably 3 weeks of winter. If you're going to go pick 3 weeks of winter that are the worst, that are consecutive in Iowa, probably the last 2 weeks in January and the first week in February is when we get the most cold and the most snow. So I think for about 3 years in a row or 4 years in a row, there was a snowstorm on Kelly's birthday, or the day that we planned her party to be. So she didn't get to have her party, and she was just always so sad. So today, seeing the weather is so nice. Yes, we did get a snow, but the snow we got is probably going to be melted by the end of the day, the way the sun is. It's just very, very unusual. And you'll see me here picking a pin out. I know that Some of you are mortified. I just ran over a pin. It happens. I do it actually quite regularly. My machine doesn't seem to bother. Yes, I break a needle occasionally, but I sometimes hate pulling out the pins. So it's just what I do. It's not, how I do things are not always perfect. But I am not afraid to run over a pin. Our family seems to have a lot of winter birthdays because Carl's birthday's in December, my birthday's in December. So the only birthdays that we had in the family that weren't within that probably 7-week period are my husband's, and his was in September, and Kalissa's, which is in May. So we're still high into birthday season around here. Rosie is up here today with me. And usually if I'm in the sewing room, she's in the sewing room. She is over, she's got a little dog bed right over there. And she's sleeping in her dog bed. And she is either in her dog bed or she sits like, I have my right foot that uses the foot feed. And my left foot usually just sits right below me. And oftentimes she sits on my foot. On my left foot when I'm sewing. In the last little bit, she has gotten really, really good. If you read my blog, you'll know that I have a little beagle named Rosie. And she is, at Christmas, I got her at Christmas time a year ago. So she was an older pup when I got her because she was 16 weeks old when I got her. Most people get their pups around 8 weeks old, but she was 16 weeks when I got her. So she's really almost a year and a half old. And I can finally say she's not having accidents in the house. And she doesn't chew and bite on everything. If I, she's gotten so she's pretty dependable and predictable, which is awesome because I've told you all before that she was just a lot of puppy. Probably a little more puppy than I was ready for, but she has totally changed and turned around, and she's finally getting into the dependable, trusty dog kind of stage. I think it was hard for me. We got our first beagle. She was a rescue dog. I got her, I don't know. It's been quite a while ago because 7 and 3 and 2, probably 12 years ago, we got our first beagle, and she was a rescue dog. And she was 5 at the time. So when you get a rescue dog, most of those dogs have a lot of their puppiness out of them. And so getting a 5-year-old dog was just a joy because she was so good. I don't know, Rosie or Gracie was the best dog, and I really, really enjoyed her. And I have very good thoughts about rescue dogs. So Gracie ended up dying, and she had an extensive tumor on her kidney that they were going to do surgery on. They didn't know that that's what it was at the time. When they opened her up, they found out that she had a big tumor on her kidney, and the doctor said that they didn't test it, but they assume it's cancerous, and that even if it wasn't, that the tumor was so intertwined with her kidney that they just knew that she wouldn't do well. So we unfortunately had to put her to sleep. Well, then we got Ruby, but we got Ruby as a puppy because I had 2 kids at my house still living. Two of my own kids were living at my house still. They were in their teens, and they said, you know, Mom, we've never experienced getting a puppy. We've just never had a puppy. And so I made the decision that we, after looking through the Humane Society trying to find a beagle puppy, we didn't find anything. And then somebody that Kelly knew said they had puppies. And so we went to look at the puppies, and we picked out Ruby. And Ruby was an excellent puppy from the very go. She didn't chew things. She didn't bite things. She didn't jump. I don't know how you could have gotten a better puppy. So I was really spoiled by Ruby. And then Rosie came along, and Rosie is, she was not my old rescue dog. And she was not my gentle, easy, loving Ruby. She was all Rosie. And so we're finally, after she's a year and a half old, finally getting into a good rhythm with her. And so when it comes, if it ever comes time to get another dog, I think I'm really going to hunt and find a rescue beagle, even if I have to drive across the country to find one, because I really don't know if I could go through puppy years again. They've been quite exhausting. But she keeps me entertained, so I appreciate that too. But I just, one time she got in the garage and found a bag of dog food and ate it, and you could just visibly see her belly was like this. She's just been a handful. When she was really little, if I would go to the bathroom and shut the door and not let her in the bathroom, she would go to the bathroom and pee on the floor outside the bathroom door. She was just a handful. But I'm so glad I stuck with her, and we got to this stage because it's been a really good stage. I'm clipping the dog ears again. And I'm so excited because with the end of these blocks means I have all the blocks sewn for my spiderweb string quilt. Woohoo! That makes me so happy. I'm that much closer to having a finish on that quilt. One thing I do have to do is I don't have the piano key border made yet, and I need to do that. So I'm back to my strips again. Whoops. So maybe if I just sew these shorter segments, that might be the trick. So, okay. I try to match them up if I can to about the same length, because then it's the best use of my fabric. But that one was a little bit too long, so I'll grab this one. Eventually we're going to get this one done too. And I don't know why it's been such a Well, I kind of told you why I think it maybe was kind of a little bit more of an elephant on my back. Just because I think it just hit at the wrong time in my life. Oops, this one's just stuck right here, not going. Okay, I'm going to clip that. I'm going to use more of this strip too. I've been doing a lot of cross stitching lately. I used to sew a lot in the evening, and I've gotten so I don't sew as much as I used to in the evening. It's not that I don't want to, it's that cross stitch has been calling me. I really enjoy cross stitching, and I appreciate having it to do. It's more relaxing to me than quilting is. And Rosie really appreciates some snuggle time on the couch. I have been tempted by a few quilt related things though. I did purchase Bonnie Hunter's sugar top pattern. I just love that quilt. I loved it from the moment that she was starting to make it. I don't know, you probably can't see it very well in the picture. And let me see if there's a bigger picture of it. Nope, there's not a bigger picture of it. There's just this. I've loved it since the day she originally started working on it, that she started showing blocks, because I like to try things that are new or different. And so I don't normally make a lot of triangle quilts. And so I was happy to see, oh, I don't know, something different to try. And so I'll probably do that and make that at some point, because I caved and bought the pattern, which was just fine. I enjoy trying new things. Okay, I have some more strips here that are too long, so I'm going to cut them again too. And so this time I'm going to do it this way. One for later and one for now. I just don't want, I don't have to make very many of these extra blocks, so I want some variety. So I'm kind of splitting the pieces up a little bit so I can get a little bit more variety. That was so sweet that our blog reader sent goodies to me. If you read the blog regularly, you know that I get a lot of mail in from people. People are often cleaning out their sewing room, or sometimes people just save scraps for me because they themselves don't like to sew with scraps, and so they know that I do, so they send things my way. And I really appreciate that. Sometimes I throw them into my stash, and sometimes I pass them on to other quilting groups that do charity work. I do a little bit of each. Lately, I know I have, after I did my big clean out of my quilting room here, I know what I have, and I know what I could use some of, and I know what I don't need any of. And so I am a little bit more conscientious about what I save and what I don't save. I've kind of come along this theory of I have a container. If whatever I save fits into the container, I can save it. But if my container is full, I need to just pass it on to someone else. For instance, I have some file size totes in my closet, and I have one for red fabric, one for blue fabric, and I kind of sort my fabric out, my bright colored fabric like that. And if my red fabric tote is full, I don't need any more red fabric. And so if someone sends gives me some red fabric, I just know that that tote is full and I just need to pass that on. And so and some people who send things my way request that it goes straight to charity, and those things I do put straight to charity. And some people, when they send it, they say, if there's something in there you like, feel free to keep it. So I honor whatever the giver requests, and I really do give the majority of the fabric away because most of my totes are full. Okay, here we go. Got a new color. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear snowmobiles ripping around in the background. I think that new fresh snow that we got and the nice warm weather is really encouraging them all to get out and use their sleds. I was never a big snowmobiler. It's very popular around our area, but yeah, I never fell for that because I was just, I don't know, I don't like cold. When it gets cold, I kind of head to the house and stay there, which is just fine. Around here, they have a lot of people get together and snowmobile together, and they call them like a poker run, and that's very, very popular around here. It's not, like, as I said, it's not anything I do, but I know many people do. Okay, I've got a few pieces going. Let's see how we're doing. This one has, I'm supposed to, let me look at my piece again. I think 6. The directions originally said to sew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 together and then 6 together and then trim them and then sew those sets that have 6 each in them together so that you get one long strip of 12. And that way you I can get some variety in what I'm sewing. And so that's what I think I'm going to go with. And so I'm counting to see what I need. This one has 5. So this means I'm going to sew this one on and it will be done. Yahoo! I should have counted to see how many of these. Pieced sashing blocks I need, but I didn't do that. Yeah, it happens. That's what Carver says all the time. He always tells me if he does something wrong, and I'll say, Carver, why did you do that? And he'll go and he'll say to me, it happens. So yeah, I've gotten to say that some too. Okay. I kind of think part of my mojo is not with this quilt too, because I love the look of on-point settings. You know, like if you turn the blocks this way into a diamond versus into a square, that's an on-point setting. I really love the look of on-point settings, but I hate sewing them. And this quilt not only calls for the on-point setting, but the blocks have to be oriented the right way, and the sashing is pieced, and the sashing has to be done the right way because the sashing is color coordinated too. So I just think, being I already don't like on-point sashing, and then I already don't like on point. I think that it's just too many things that I don't like to do, but I love the look of. So I think I just have to, oh, what do they say? Buck up, buttercup, or pull up your big girl pants, or go, go, go. I don't know. I think I need a private cheerleader to just cheer me on at the end of this one, because as I said, it's just a rough one for me to be doing, because I can't. I'm just not feeling it. So I'm curious, what do you guys all do when you have a quilt that you just can't quite get excited about? That's where I'm kind of at, is I just can't get excited about it. So there, I've got one section done. Yay! That's not going to do much, but it's one section done. This one's going to be done with one more strip, which would be awesome. Okay, I don't think I have enough strips here. Maybe we'll see. Oops, and with that I ran out of thread. So I often get asked, I have the Seam So Easy guide here, and you can see it's on my machine. People ask me how I change my bobbin when I am using that. So I just lift like this and I take my pieces out, because my machine is right here is where I have the bobbin opening, the opening to get to the bobbin. And so then I'm just going to pop I've got a nice little drawer cabinet here that I picked up at the thrift store for $10 several years ago, and I have very much loved it. It's on wheels, so I can kind of roll it around. When I have a bigger quilt, I oftentimes roll it over here, and then the bulk of the quilt can kind of rest on there, and that is very nice. But I use that a lot. And see, so I'm lifting it up again, and I'm putting the pieces back in place. I have washi tape that I use to stick it down with, and if the tape comes loose, I just push the tape back down and I'm ready to go again. Because a lot of people were just wondering how that works and how you can use the Seam So Easy guide and still change your bobbin. So my machine's really nice. I don't have to pull up the bottom thread, and so I don't. This is a Pfaff grain quilter. A lot of people refer to it as a Hobby 1200, and it used to be on a mid-arm frame to machine quilt. But it's off now, and one of the features of it is that I have an automatic thread cut button, and that's because it was a long arm, and it's nice to have that. And it also has variable speed. I'm on a higher speed because I can handle a higher speed when I sew. But I like it because if I have a little kid here that I'm trying to show how to sew, I can turn the speed down a lot. But all in all, this is my favorite machine I've ever sewn on. The only drawback is it only does a straight stitch. Those are the snowmobilers revving up, going through town. Just a block from me is the river that goes through town, and a lot of snowmobilers snowmobile right on the river. And so I end up hearing a lot of revving up. And the quote-unquote downtown of Waukoma is just 2 blocks. Well, yeah, 2 blocks away from me. And I can see the downtown from my house. And the downtown consists of like 4 businesses. Probably that's about it. And so the snowmobilers, one of them is the bar. So the snowmobilers all end up congregating at the bar. And especially Sunday afternoons, that's a very big time to snowmobile. So between having the river close and the downtown that close, that is a a high attraction for the snowmobilers to come and for me to end up having to hear them. But Rosie doesn't notice. She's just over there snoring away anyway. Tonight is a Sunday night because today is Sunday, and I have been watching All Creatures Great and Small on PBS, and so I'm looking forward to watching that tonight. That has been a good show that I've appreciated watching. And yay, this big strip's done too. And this one's done. They all have 6 in them. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, one more for this one. Okay, I can do that. Woohoo! I'm so excited. These are getting done. I think at this point, once I get these done, I'm going to cut and see how many I have and see if it's enough for how much sashing I need. I know I don't need a lot, but I do know I need some. So I'm trying to find where that happy medium might be without having to count. I know Kelly gets so frustrated with me and she's like, Mom, just stop and count. And I'm kind of silly because I'm like, well, if I stop and count, then I'm wasting time. And so a lot of times I will sew a few blocks and then I will sew more of the quilt together, and then I'll sew a few more blocks, and then I'll sew more of the quilt together. It just, I've told you before, but I just think it's funny how we both have our own way of sewing. She's very meticulous, very counting, everything's very organized, and I'm just kind of, whatever. So I'm going to continue here on and sew my little pieces together. I think I'm going to be probably done for now and go, I think I'm going to actually iron and cut these right now and see how far along I am, because I want to keep working and keep getting another row on that quilt. I have that in me to get that UFO done, and it's just time. Do you ever sometimes feel like sometimes a project you just can't do it anymore, and it's just time? That's how I feel with this project. So I'm going to keep plugging away and I'll get it done eventually. But hopefully it won't be another Sew with Jo session, and I'll have it done before I do my next Sew with Jo. Fingers crossed. Have a happy day. I hope you're getting some sewing time in, and I will see you next time for another edition of Sew with Jo. Bye.